Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome. You're listening to Perfectly Healthy and Tone Radio with your host, Darren Fatman McDuck. And now, prepare to get fat. Hey, what's cracking, and welcome back to another episode of Perfectly Healthy and Tone Radio with your host, Darren Fatman McDuffie. And tonight we have a great show, but before we get into that, this is brought to you by I'mTheFatMan.com. So if you haven't checked out the blog, go there to I'mTheFatMan.com and check it out. And I actually did, before I had the guest on the show, I did a really good blog on vitamin D. So go check that out. And right after the show, you can get some more facts about vitamin D. So tonight, we have an awesome show. I'm very much looking forward to doing this tonight. I actually found this gentleman through Natural News. I downloaded one of the interviews through the Health Ranger because I became intrigued about vitamin D and wanted to see how the sun actually added to our health. So tonight we have Dr. Michael Holick in the house, also known as Dr. Sunshine, and we'll be bringing him on soon. But before I do, just remember that you can download every show that I've ever done, and I started this show back in September of last year. You can download every show in iTunes. Just go to iTunes and type in Fat Man. That's fat spelled with a PH, and you'll be able to download those shows. Put them on your iPod, and you can listen to them anytime. That's how I learned a lot about health. Don't forget to connect with me on all social media. Twitter is @thefat_man. You can connect with me there. Facebook is facebook.com/I'mTheFatMan. So connect with me there. And also on Pinterest, I'm on Pinterest as well. And I cannot even remember my Pinterest address. I believe it's the Fat Man as well. So you can connect with me on Pinterest for those of you who use Pinterest. So tonight, got a great show for you. Dr. Michael Holick is on the show with the vitamin D solution. So be prepared to be mesmerized by the things that vitamin D can do, and also be prepared to know that most of us out here are vitamin D deficient. So we'll be getting into that. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Dr. Michael Holick to Perfectly Healthy and Tone Radio. Dr. Holick, are you there?
I'm here.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing awesome. So glad that you can be on the show. I know that we had spoken a while back before the show, and you so graciously agreed to come on and share your knowledge about vitamin D. So I'm really, really thankful for that.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, so let's get into the show. Let's actually get into your journey, because you had a rather unique journey. When I was reading in the beginning of the book, you kind of stumbled on to studying vitamin D by accident. A lot of people were looking to study something different, and you stumbled upon vitamin D. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. The long and short of it is that when I was at University of Wisconsin as a graduate student in the Department of Biochemistry, just like most other students are always keen to work in the hottest areas of research, and back then it was trying to understand how the body utilized energy, mitochondrial oxidation, and so I was keen to hook up with a lab in that area, but they already had a large number of postdoctoral fellows and more senior graduate students, and so as a result they had no openings, and they said, why don't you go over and see this young professor who's working in vitamin D? And my response was, why do I want to work in vitamin D? I mean, I can't think of a more boring subject. And they said, probably because that's the only thing you're going to work in.
Yeah, and so you just started to work in vitamin D. And let's kind of go back in history, because you had something very interesting in the book where you talked about dinosaurs and the fact that, basically dinosaurs and both Neanderthals, and how the Ice Age came about and how that might have contributed to the dying off of both of these species. Can we talk about that?
Sure. So it turns out that we were curious about when in evolution vitamin D made its first appearance on Earth, and we found that an organism that's existed in the Atlantic Ocean unchanged for 500 million years, the phytoplankton, when exposed to sunlight, made vitamin D. So vitamin D is likely the oldest hormone on this Earth. And then, and as vertebrates evolved in the ocean, there was a lot of calcium in the ocean, so they didn't have to worry about putting calcium in their skeletons. But as soon as they left on for terra firma onto land, they were confronted with a problem because there was no calcium easily available, that you had to be able to get it from your diet. And the only way to be able to do that was to be able to eat things that contain calcium and to make vitamin D to be able to utilize that dietary calcium. And so for reasons that we don't fully understand, it was exposure to sunlight on the skin of early life forms, including dinosaurs, that likely helped the vertebrates evolve into what they were.